Okay, boys and girls, we're on another field trip. We're at my friend's house in Airdrie today. And I was telling you a story about a young woman who is very unhappy in her marriage. So let's continue because I am ready to go. I am eager to get going. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay, so I was unhappily married and very depressed. But in 1990, something happened that I did not expect. I got pregnant and wasn't trying to, but it happened. And suddenly I was excited about something. Something good was about to happen to me. And even though my heart was broken, I had hope for the first time in a really long time. So in November 1990, my son was born, and it was wonderful. We moved out of my mother-in-law's basement and moved into a duplex of our own, and I began to take care of my baby and thoroughly enjoyed that. Being a mom was wonderful. It had its challenges too and its moments, but I really enjoyed it. Rob and I weren't close. I wouldn't say we were close, but we got along. And he was helpful as a dad. And so things were looking up. We were attending a Nazarene church near our little duplex. I think more out of habit than anything else. I'd always gone to church. But it didn't really hit my heart necessarily, but it was the thing to do, right? So we went to church every Sunday, and it was a good church. But there was still a real disconnect in my heart. However, one of my friends at the time, Jody, hello Jody, she'll never watch this, but anyway, Jody invited me to go to a church with her in Calgary. I'd never been to before. I'd never heard of it before, but apparently some really good things were happening there, so she invited me to go with her and check it out. Now, I need to flashback. Let's do a flashback to when I was a teenager in Champion. And there were some weekends when our family would drive into Calgary from Champion to attend a Sunday evening service at Christian Center. Now, at that time, there was a real revival going on at Christian Center. And it was a much more charismatic church than I had grown up in. So I found it a little interesting, but the worship was wonderful. I really enjoyed the music. But I remember one Sunday evening when we attended Christian Center, the service hadn't started yet, and people were filing in and finding their places. And I looked over, we were sitting there waiting for the service to start, and I looked over and I saw this guy in the section next to us who was already standing with his arms out and his eyes closed, and he was just standing there completely oblivious to everyone who walked by him to find their seats and all the noise and the hubbub going on around him. And he was standing there. I didn't understand it at the time. He was already lost in worship and the service hadn't started yet. So I kept glancing over at him, right? Trying not to be too obvious that I was staring, but I found it so weird and so fascinating that he was already engaged. And frankly, I didn't really, I had no grid for it, but it was strangely compelling. And when I went with my friend all these years later to the church that she invited me to, Grace Vineyard, I had the same experience because Grace Vineyard was kind of weirdo church as far as I'm concerned. At the time, it was weird to me because everybody was like raising their hands and people were really into it. And some people were even like dancing a little bit. Like I remember, oh my goodness, there was one man, okay, not a woman, a man who during the service was dancing around the perimeter of the gym. They held their services in a high school gym. And I remember thinking, oh my word, where am I right now? And it was weird and strangely compelling. I didn't know what to make of it, so I left. But the next week I was back again, and I just I just found it so odd, and yet so it was doing something on the inside of me. And they were singing all of these songs. Oh my word, these songs that the words just hit me. Like, Jesus, I need to know true love, deeper than the love known on earth. Take me into the king's chambers, cause my heart to mature. Songs based on the Song of Solomon and on the Father heart of God, on the unconditional love of God. And it was doing something. I was kind of addicted after the first few times. As weird as it was, something was thawing on the inside of me. And next time, I'll tell you about the first time that I danced.